Hi, welcome to AwkwardHamster. Recently, a company called CleverFiles sent me a copy of their distro software for review. And the reason I said yes to this review is because of what the software does. It is a data restoration software. So, to me, everyone should at least be aware of this. You may not need to purchase it right now, but at least know that if something goes wrong, where can you go to purchase a software like this? The reason I mention this is about 10 years ago, back when I was still using a Windows computer, I deleted the wrong partition on my hard drive. That was a partition that had all my files, my documents, my taxes, my pictures, my videos, everything. I was devastated. So I told a friend about it, and their friend says, "Oh, hold off, don't do anything. He'll get back to me in 24 hours." He did. He came back and gave me a copy of a software called, I think it was called Restoration or something like that, and it restored about 80% of the data that was lost. Not 100%. It was 80% is because from the time I screwed up to the time I spoke to him, I was still using the computer for those couple of days, and that's not something you're supposed to do. Because you're writing over the sectors, and it makes the restoration a bit more difficult. So now that I'm on a Mac, I wasn't aware that they have this kind of software on a Mac because, well, Mac is based on Linux, and I was figuring it was a bit more difficult to restore on Linux. But CleverFiles did come up with one called Distro. Now, what's also cool about Distro is that, let's say that someone out there screwed up. You don't need to go out and buy Distro right now. You can install it for free on your computer and do a deep scan and see if it basically will restore the files, if it can find the files that you want. Because if it can, then you pay for it. I think that's really awesome. It's not like you got to first pay and then try to restore, and if you can't restore, you get all upset. This one, you can install for free, scan for free, and try to see if it will do what you want, if it will restore what you want. So there's a couple of things with Distro. I'm going to bring it up right here. So they offer two things. One, data recovery, and two, protection. Let me just first go to the protection piece. So in the protection, mine's the MacBook Pro with Retina, so I have only one hard drive. I can only have one hard drive. So I turned on the recovery vault. This just protects my data, and I also turned on the guarantee recovery. Now, why did I turn this on? The guarantee recovery basically means, let me open an advanced tab here, that let's say I delete a file, then I went and emptied the trash on the Mac. If I did not have distro installed, I'll need to run the recover data piece, and I'll need to do a deep scan. And even when I do a deep scan, there's no guarantee that I can restore it, depending on how many days and how much I use the computer. But with the guarantee recovery, let's say that 3 days passed, I realized, holy crap, I deleted something I was not supposed to. Let me just try to undelete or recover. I can't because I have this guarantee recovery turned on. The way I set my guarantee recovery is the file, a limited size, keep it for at least 4 days, and if my hard drive space drops below 64 gigs of free space, that's enough. Don't try to protect anymore. So on this computer right now, I got about 96 gigs of free space. So if I were to work on like 2 Final Cut projects or something, and I delete those, and that will drop me to below 60 gigs. And essentially, right after that, if I try to delete anything else afterwards, it's not going to be guaranteed protected. And another thing is, with the guaranteed protection, sometimes after you install this, what I notice is that you notice that your hard drive space dwindling more and more and more. And that's why I set mine to 4 days. Because if I set this to 1 week and I'm swapping files left and right, that's like 30, 40 gigs each time, or folders each time, I'm going to run out of space. So after 4 days, is anything older than 4 days, junk it. Now let's get to the recovery data piece. For the recovery data, here I can just basically undelete, or if you did not have the guarantee recovery turned on, and this is the first time you're installing this distro software, you can do a deep scan to see what it finds, what it can possibly restore. It can even search for lost partitions if you were like myself that screwed up many years ago and deleted the wrong partition. So I can do a deep scan. Well, let me do undelete. I ran a scan before, but now let me just do Undelete. And a lot of the files I mentioned, I work in Final Cut a lot. So here, you can see that in my movies library, these are gigs and gigs of files I work on. Here's some of the projects I worked on. Pebble, was that Dead Space or Marcus, Defiance. A lot of these videos I work on recently. So if I delete a project or an event folder and I empty my trash, it's not completely gone. If I need to go back, it's like, holy crap, 3 days later, the client says, I need this little change, I can still restore my data. Now, some folks out there, they might say they don't need a software like this. Well, let me break it down to what I think people need and what they should have. Everyone should at least have a backup hard drive. I do. I got 2. I got a Synology NAS and a Buffalo Link Station Dual Pro NAS. Now, they also offer, the reason I have NAS is because I can drop a lot of large files in there. It'll take some time, but I can drop it in there. I also subscribe to BitCasa. It's online storage. The problem with BitCasa is, even though it's unlimited, for me to back up like 54 gigs in my movies folder to BitCasa, it'll take me probably 24 hours. 24 hours even at my internet speed, which is 35 down, 35 up. And so backing up my movie files to BitCasa, that's not realistic. BitCasa is more like file texts or documents I share with my friends. Now, anything else, something that's more immediate, that it's not through a scheduled backup. So let's say right now I delete something I'm supposed to, I empty trash right away. Sometimes I do that. I can go in my Distro Pro and try to do a restoration. Let me just click on some of the other buttons here, so you can see that I can also choose where to restore the file. I can then click on Recover, and let me take a flash drive and just plug it into the Mac. So you can also recover partitions from flash drives too, whether it be a flash drive and iOS device. You can recover from a memory card too if you wanted. So now it detects, well, preventing data loss on a flash drive. That's not very practical, but I can run a deep scan. I can run a deep scan on a flash drive and basically try to recover any data that I deleted in the past. Distro Pro is for Mac. For all those coming from Windows, this will take some getting used to. If you ever run out of hard drive space on a computer, just remember, maybe you have the guarantee recovery protection turned on, and the parameters you set in the advanced tab is just too broad. So if I were to just basically turn this off and turn it back on, I would junk out all the files that was in the guaranteed recovery root file or folder. Okay, well, I hope you guys found this video useful. This is about the free data recovery software called Distro. And if it does what you want, if you can recover what you want, upgrade to the Pro. You can find it at cleverfiles.com. All right, thanks for watching AwkwardHamster. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.